Hey everybody, it's another week, another chance to sit down and watch trailers. My name is Brandon Jones. If you have a little bit of time, if you're not doing something, I would like to watch trailers with you. So just sit right there and let's all go to the trailers. I'm joined by Mr. Ryan Stevens.
I would also like to watch trailers with you.
Well, thank you. Have a seat. And Mr. Kyle Bosman.
Not so much.
Oh, whoa.
Oh, I kid. Grounded.
But the fact is, we are all here and trailers are happening. We are recording this a day early. So we're recording this on Thursday, even though it's going up on Sunday. We usually record on Friday. So if any super hot trailers happen, which are, likely to happen before E3, sorry we missed those. We'll try to pick them out next week. We actually want to talk about one trailer that technically did come out next week, but we didn't really cover it. This started out as a slow week for trailers, and also, I have a note here. Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor, Watch Dogs, Sniper Elite 3, and Murdered Soul Suspect all had fairly decent trailers that were released this week. We just talked about all those games, and we've talked about Murdered Soul Suspect previously on the show. So I wanted to cover some new stuff, so if you really like those trailers and couldn't understand why we didn't talk about them, that's why. So let's get into our first trailer. A super short run, which I'm always a fan of. We'll probably loop this about 50 times in our discussion of it. This is a game coming from Crytek called Arena of Fate, which I had never heard of, and is a very, very short teaser, but I like it. And I'm curious to see what you guys think of it, and just to talk about teasers in general, because it's not something we've covered a lot on the show. What do you think, Kyle?
Pretty good teaser. I love, it looks simple. We see these, two figurines, and then we see this whole, world, and that part's great. I dislike the art big time. You see one shot of this little girl grinning, and you're like, oh, the art's bad, I can tell already.
It is bad art. It's not full animation and it's not totally realistic. It's a little bit of both.
Yeah, it bums me out. Why would they pick Little Red Riding Hood as their first character to reveal for this game?
Well, fighting the wolf too, as well.
Yeah.
So what do we think? Do you know anything about this, Ryan? Do you know anything about this game?
I know Crytek went on record saying that all of their games are going to be free to play. So
like a League of Legends contender, something like this?
I don't know if it's going to be a MOBA, but
I get a League of Legends vibe from this. I don't know why. Maybe because it has lots of sexy short women in League of Legends, so maybe that's the connection.
Maybe.
Enter the arena. I mean, clearly, I bet MOBA's a safe call, I guess.
I actually think this trailer is actually, I know it's a teaser, but I still think it's a little off in its editing. There's this really long establishing shot, and then there's only 3 beats, and it feels like it's missing something, or they should have lingered on the close-up of the girl a little bit. Just to enter your realm, it feels like, or that establishing shot. I mean, we've seen teasers before. I mean, the old VGA trailers all used to be 45 seconds, and I don't know. I know this is really brief as well. What is this clocking in at?
I think
15
it's just 20 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like it's a little bit of a misstep.
We complained about the Risen trailer, that we got the early part of it and didn't realize it was the early part. This clearly feels like an early part. I'm assuming we will see this entire fight between these two characters. It definitely feels like something that was produced in a longer form, and we're getting the shortened version of it. And I think because it's very brief, I don't know, it's obvious. I'm kind of excited. I got a little bit of a jolt, actually, when it ended. I was like, oh no, I wanted to see that fight. And so they pulled it off. That's actually why I picked it, because
they have really detailed feet. No one really usually notice that stuff.
And I like the idea of these statues, them kind of turning the wheels of this giant machine, and it was these two people that were decided that we're going to fight together. So it puts a little bit more LOL behind it, I guess.
Are you a Calvinist?
I'm sorry. What did you call me?
Are you a Calvinist?
Should I be offended?
Do you believe in a divine clock maker?
No, but I believe in Calvin and Hobbes, so I don't know if that's the same thing. Again, just a little bit more behind it, other than just seeing them fight. That obviously wouldn't have the impact, but the setup of the statues. But it is really short, and like you were saying, the art. I'm not an artiste. I do not do pencil drawings. I know you're a very accomplished artist, Kyle, so you have a different perspective.
Her eyes are awful.
Yeah, they're real bad
is
eyes.
it part of the hood? No, it's her eyes.
Yeah.
It's like her mom's like, you can wear makeup now, and she's like, I've been waiting my whole life.
I think my 8.0 and 8.4 scores from last week were terrible. I think I'm scoring stuff way too high. So I would give this a 7.3. But it is a good teaser. I consider myself sufficiently teased.
Brandon, I'm with you. I do think this is a small part of a longer trailer we'll see eventually, and I don't like them doing that to us. This is a 4.
You don't like trailers for trailers?
Yeah.
Just hang on to this trailer for now. More trailers
but it's
to
not
come.
It's not even sold as a trailer of a trailer. You know what I mean? This is like, hey, this is our trailer. It's like, no, it isn't, you jerks. We're going to see the rest of this later. Don't do that to us. And awful art. Those eyes, man. They're huge. Oh, they're so weird.
It's kind of funny to get it repetition. Like,
yeah.
how many
yeah,
more
I'm
times?
actually getting a little like
Our poor viewers.
I'm getting whiplash from watching this trailer so many times. Score it quick so we can move on, Brian.
Fours. 2 fours. Oh.
Gotham.
Thankfully, here to save
eyes.
us.
Here we go.
From
Here
the
we go.
trailer doldrums. The Dark Knight has returned. Again, I'm going to toss this over to you guys because I am actually not a huge fan of this trailer.
I would agree.
I'm excited about the gameplay. I'm still, my excitement for this game has not, risen or lowered since this trailer came out. But the trailer itself, I actually have some issues with. But I'm curious to see what you guys, or hear what you guys have to say before I get into it.
I like it. I think this is the first time they've shown video of the game.
Yeah, this is actual gameplay.
Which
first
is
time.
exciting. You know what I mean? I'm still in this oh, cool, new gen phase where I'm impressed by the things that these consoles can accomplish. So I like watching this. I don't mind just a shot of Batman staring us in the eyes.
I feel like the trailer's a little lopsided. Also, I mean, on a very personal level, I've seen 30 minutes of this game played at GDC.
Okay.
So to me, it's like we already got a really healthy dose of story with not story maybe per se, but kind of, like a light touch with the cinematic, the CG trailer. And now this thing is kind of setting the stage. And now we get little. I don't think we see gameplay stuff for more than 2 seconds at a time. This would be really hard to use in a cut.
Yeah.
For example, I feel like they could have because it's a long trailer. Doesn't it break the 2-minute mark?
Yeah, it probably.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they could have lingered a little bit because they have a lot of good stuff, and it would be okay to let people see it a bit. But I guess they're maybe waiting for it. Weird because it may steal the thunder out of E3 if they decide. I mean, I think we'll see this at E3 in some form or another. Warner Brothers can be a little weird with their games, but one last bit, I think it is cool that they kind of showed the Arkham Knight. And kind of
But I've seen that shot. I've seen that actual shot.
But putting him into the actual context of him with Batman, I think, was a little more interesting.
But I've never seen a screenshot come to life in a trailer like that before, where they're like, "Oh, what's he gonna do?" It's like he's probably gonna put his foot on him and put his gun to his face because I've seen that screenshot.
Here's Kyle's favorite part.
Yeah, I know. I actually trim these to not include the just excess fat on the logos and stuff like that. So
Are you calling Harley Quinn fat?
Yes, so we can get into the discussion quicker. And I was just about to delete that from the end, and I'm like, nope, got to keep the pre-order thing for Kyle.
Who's Needle Man? This guy with needles for fingers.
That's Scarecrow.
Oh, okay.
That's their weird. Did you ever see the Dream Warriors with Freddy Krueger? I'm sorry, Nightmare on Elm Street is the official franchise before I jump into to its hero. But there's the one, the drug addict chick where he gets the syringes on his hands. Let's get high. Reminds me of that. I think a lot of the character portrayals in the Arkham series are done really well. I think Scarecrow's a little bit too much. I have to take that back. I actually am a little bit less excited, maybe 0.1% less excited about this game. And this has nothing to do with the trailer, but I just want to get it off my chest. I found out that there's going to be no citizens again. So there are literally going to be no Gotham citizens in any Arkham game ever.
There are. It's just few.
Which their whole angle this time is be the Batman. It's like that is a major part of being Batman is saving people.
Yeah, does that kind of make or break it for you as an open world game?
Yeah, totally.
Because I mean,
as far as
GTA,
evolving this, it's then it's just a car.
Assassins,
Then that's it. You just have a car. But yeah, Assassin's a huge thing. There's people all over the place, and accounting for what they're carrying. Trying to follow someone through other people and using them as to block you.
How much Graw did you play back in the day?
I played the first one a ton.
Yeah,
multiplayer a lot.
Mexico City, most populated city on the hemisphere.
Yeah,
and there's no one there.
I just think it adds a totally different variable. Having cops that are good and bad, or you don't want to piss them off or something. I don't know. Just it seems like the whole concept of oh no, the streets are run amok. That just is not only what other games have done. It seems like the status quo for this franchise. So I was a little bummed to hear that. You brought up a really good point, Ryan, which is the beats. That's all this trailer does. It's just beat, 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 beat. It's like teasing Two-Face's face. It's like, we've already seen Two-Face. Why are you teasing us with this stuff? The first gameplay we ever saw of Arkham City was this really long, no fades to black, just here's the game, and we saw lots of great sequences, him flying around, had a really relaxed song, had a great attitude, villains, lines from every single villain in the game, and this just seems really abrupt and teasing in a weird way. It also makes me think that there needs to be a progression, which how you show things. Ryan's taking control here. He's grabbing the mouse. He's scrolling through to find something specific.
No, let you finish. I just want to talk about this one shot.
but there needs to be a progression with how you're showing stuff. It's kind of like talking about the screenshots. Like, we've already seen this. And you're like, teasing Two-Face. Like, we've already seen him. If you're going to tease something, it needs to be something we haven't seen. Leading to the shot that you showed, which is probably the most exciting thing in the shot, which is this Men in Black shot of him going upside down in the tunnel of the Batmobile.
Yeah, this is the Batmobile going upside down. I don't know if this is actually from one of the Riddler races, but some of the Riddler challenges will be Batmobile ones.
Of course.
Where you have to like raise, we talked about this before, but not, I don't think on the show, where you like raise and lower platforms and stuff like that. And it's like, you know, Mario Kart levels from hell, I think was like the marketing pitch they threw at us. And I'm not saying this stuff won't be fun, but where I felt Rocksteady took the Batman games, this is not one of the places I think they took them. This feels more Adam West, Tim Burton Batman than what they've kind of cobbled together as their own Batman, who I've really, really enjoyed. I don't know. I look at this and what I saw, and it rings a little false to me for what they've done. Yeah. And on the same turn, I know this is really just a personal nitpick. They're kind of inverting the third Nolan film, where everyone's evacuating instead of keeping everyone on the island. But it's so similar. It still really, really to me seems like. And obviously that's the reason they get the people out of the city and let you be around the city. But to me, it just seems like it's leaning a little. I mean, obviously, all this stuff is they're stealing from various comic books and movies and stuff. Yeah. But this one in particular, just for me, feels like they're grabbing a little too much out of the Nolan
Like we're
film.
back in the PlayStation 1 with the Spider-Man game, where they're like, oh no, they released toxic gas, which is why you can't see the streets of New York. Because it's gas. It's not it's
brilliant.
Not a Silent Hill cloud. It's gas. We're back there. How many generations past that? We're 3 generations. And it's like, oh, same thing. Can't have people too much. It's like, having people is just very important to me. I'm also not a huge Batmobile fan. I'm a big Batman fan, a massive Batman fan, and like I've never really cared that much about the Batmobile. I've always considered it like, you know, that's why I loved the armor that he has in the Burton film in '89, where it's like that's what I imagine he does with the Batmobile. He just drives it into town somewhere, parks it, and then never goes back. Goes back at like the end of the night. But it's like I can get there so much quicker, and they've already established that in the game that I can get there so much quicker by just flying over the building rather than taking a right turn, then another right turn, then another left turn.
The Batmobile also is like indestructible, and it does that thing which is going to be cool. I'm just curious if it's going to be cool 100 times in, where you like automatically jump into the driver's seat. You know, like you do like a triple corkscrew, and you like land. Oh, that's not it, but they showed in there.
I bet that will always be cool.
Well, you were talking about Riddler challenges. I imagine that you gotta like drive the Batmobile off a ramp, jump out of it, fly up, grab something, land back in the Batmobile,
but
park it somewhere.
How is Riddler
it's better
setting
when
up
that
these
stuff's
challenges
organic.
where you need a Batmobile to accomplish a challenge? Like the Riddler can't even set that up. Do the proper testing it would take.
He's a Riddler.
That is the riddle.
He doesn't do riddles anymore. He just does weird physical challenges, like guts or something.
He's just a
family
big
double
American
dare.
Gladiator fan.
Yeah.
I don't like this. I think the other trailer was the way to go. I really just want to see this game, and it looks like they're willing to do that. It doesn't seem like it's in a really early state or something. It seems like they're ready. They're at the point where they just want to show us a bunch of stuff. So I want to see it. I don't know why this trailer teases so much. So it's average. I mean, my Batman fandom will raise it up to a 7.5, but that's as high as it'll go.
Nice.
It's average.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good trailer. I think there's a lot of like next gen-ness on it. Like the reason I think they show Two-Face is they're showing off like what that looks like. Do you know what I mean? Like this is an engine.
You've seen skin textures. These are below skin textures.
But it does a couple of cheap things. Firing a gun and cutting to black at the same time is so cheap. Like we know he doesn't shoot Batman there, and like why put that at the end of your trailer? To me, that really detracts from it. And of course, minus 0.5 for pre-order now. This is a 6.1.
7.6.
Higher than me on a Batman trailer.
Yeah.
Wow.
N times.
Our final trailer is quote-unquote interesting as far as quote-unquote trailers go. This trailer actually came out last week and we didn't talk about it, but this week was a little bit slow. A lot of trailers for properties we've already talked about. Some sort of discussion has to happen about this. I'm just not sure what it is. This whole thing is presented in a way that's like, this is really important. This is something that you should note, but I don't know exactly why it's important. The video specifically that we're watching shows all of these, the faces put together, where there is an interview with the photographer who did it, and he seems really excited about this, and what he actually produced at the end of the day doesn't seem like it was worth it.
Oh, it depresses me.
I don't know. Somehow this is tied to RuneScape, and you get the final mail. and it's pretty generic. Did you ever like try to make your own candles by melting crayons?
No.
We did, and we put all 64 colors in, and the candle ended up being purple for some reason. But here it's just like, here is the most like softest featured thing in the world. The only thing that's interesting at all is the ring of the camera in the people's pupils and all of that.
Which I'm assuming they did to orient everyone together.
Yeah,
it's like a signal point.
It bums me out. I think no one sees the average gamer at the end and says, "Oh, that's me." You know, I think we all see this alien thing that none of us want to be by the end of this trailer.
Do you remember in school you had to learn mean, median, and mode?
Yeah.
And no one ever uses mode. You have to learn it. Mode is the one that like appears the most frequently.
Yes.
Let's do mode, okay? Like, what's the most common group of people? Because this composite thing is not giving you anything that's worthwhile whatsoever.
But like my first thought was, oh, they should do this with like, you know, way more people than 500. They should do this with thousands. And my second thought was, no, we shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
This doesn't. I'm just, you know, it'd be one thing if I was like, oh, we learned that from that. That's disappointing. I don't even know what that is. I don't know what we learned from this. I don't know what to think when I look
What
at
does it
this.
have to do with gamers? They play the game?
Right.
It's like whatever. There was, I can't remember what
Connect.
it's called. I
It's
think
all
it's
to sell
called
Connect.
Alternate Lives or something.
That's why we should have Connect, so we can take pictures of all of us.
There's a coffee table art book where it shows people, the people, the players in real life, and then their avatar, and then like a very brief interview. And I always thought that was really interesting. Like that's, I'm looking at this and I think I'm not even getting angry. I'm just getting like perplexed. It's like, okay.
I want the average character of World of Warcraft. I want gnomes and taurens and orcs and humans and elves all composited together. See what that looks like.
Yeah.
Man.
Lots of close-up acne.
I
in this
really
trailer.
do, yeah. And I'm realizing they're taking a lot of liberties
Are
with
these
the way
British
that they
people?
mash up images,
They're
too.
called
You know what I
spots.
mean?
So there's actually 2 videos associated with this, and I picked this one because it had all the weird faces staring back
Sure.
at us, and the other one was just a bunch of talking heads that we wouldn't be listening to anyway. But to grade this, I kind of want to grade the whole thing, just the whole concept of like investing time in this and releasing videos.
Okay.
To I guess sell RuneScape, kind of. It's the audience of RuneScape.
Yeah.
So it technically is a RuneScape trailer. It says average gamer on our site, but it's technically an ad for RuneScape.
Sure.
They put a ton of work into it, so I wouldn't give it below a 5, maybe 5.8.
I think this has the
No pre-order bonus,
Yeah.
at least.
the opposite of the intended effect, though. I think this is like doing more harm than good. I give this a solid 0.
You'd rather have the Pokemon trailer than this?
I'd way rather watch the Pokemon
That
trailer
one's not
than this.
I mean, this is a theory versus practice, right? And it's like, you know, you're in your science class, you do your hypothesis, and your hypothesis is bunk. And that's what happened here. I'll give it a 4.6278.
As I mentioned before, Middle-earth, Watch Dogs, Sniper Elite 3, and Murder Sold Suspect all had great trailers. You should check them all out, but we've already talked about those games on the show. Also, Ace Combat Infinity, that is how slow this week was for trailers. Ace Combat is what we're talking about, people.
Was there melodrama?
There's lots of melodrama. There's no cinemas, though. It's literally just people yelling and screaming and planes flying around. And so you can't really tell, like, is that person screaming to that pilot that I'm looking at right now?
Chopper Dave.
Or is that just general screaming that's being mixed in? Like, could you just kind of jumble all of that footage together and you still wouldn't be able to tell the difference? Who knows? Drakengard 3 had an amazing trailer because the director, Taro Yoko, did the interview as a puppet. Did you watch this, Kyle?
I watched the whole thing.
You watched the whole thing?
Yeah.
I actually was afraid when I put it on the list. I was like, well, I hope Kyle doesn't actually watch.
I got so
That
into
entire
it.
thing.
I plugged in, dude. So what happens? This person's completely open in this trailer. Starts talking about like how
Did you talk about Nier?
every video. Yeah, he did. Every video
watch
game
this.
is about killing people, and he wanted to make a game that explores that. And he says, "I failed. I failed with Drakengard 3, but I have hope for the future of video games." And like that is like half of this thing. It's so interesting.
But he couldn't do it. It's kind of like how parents, they can't communicate with their kids. So
Yeah.
like Richard Dreyfuss and What About Bob? Like that's how he talks to his kids, is like through the puppets.
Yeah.
So like he can't get on camera and communicate that. He's too ashamed.
Right.
But he can do it through the puppet.
It's so good.
It might be something that's like actually accepted in Japanese culture that we're not familiar with. You know, that might be something that's how they deal with it. But just great. When I first booted it up, I was like, oh, he's gonna be a puppet for the first couple seconds. That's funny.
It's
And then
8.5 minutes.
It's 8.5 minutes of puppet talking about Drakengard 3. I can't believe that
Fascinating.
existed. That's great.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's my trailer of the week. But we also have, what is it? Redo? Redux? What's the official pronunciation? There's Metro Redo.
I say Redux.
Redux? Metro
Yeah.
Redux. Was that like French for redo, or where'd
I
that word come from?
I only think of Apocalypse Now.
Right.
That got re-released.
Metro coming back. There's 3 Metros, which I forgot. There's a Metro 2033, and Metro Last Light.
No, there's just 2.
There's just 2. There's 3 games that they talk about.
So
No,
the
they're
one in the
swapping.
middle is if you buy both of them together.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Because they show the 3 logos.
Right.
Actually, kind of a cool trailer. I was into the story a little bit when he was talking about it. I don't have a lot of experience with those
Dude,
games.
and then the
so
alien hand that grabs you, man, that's cool. And I really like you can buy them individually. You don't have to buy this combo of both games. You can just buy 2033 or Last Light if you choose. That's cool. Thank you for giving us that option.
I'm voting for a puppet trailer over a Batman trailer this week.
Sure,
I
why
don't know,
not?
I don't know what to do with myself.
That was honestly, I was gonna be my vote. I love that video.
It was a weird, slow week. I mean, I actually didn't like the Watch Dogs trailer. I know we didn't talk about those, but like, Watch Dogs is really boring. It was just more stuff that we've already seen. They're like, so you have the phone. It's like, we know.
Have you ever
we know
done-
everything about this guy. Stop it. Like, finally, if you're gonna do a launch trailer, that's the point to tell us. Like, here's one thing you actually don't know about.
Is
the
that what a
story.
launch trailer should do?
That one last thing, which actually we were talking about that last week when you said like, oh, the moon, don't tell me that. It's like, that's what you do with a launch trailer. You're like, what else do we have? You know, I mean, we showed the moon level in our review. So
And I
it's
think
not- it is
Watch
a
Dogs
level.
doesn't have anything left.
Yeah, they're
I
done.
think they don't have any.
So yeah,
thing.
that's just
Yeah.
like that last drop of the orange
Dead
hitting the bowl. And I actually have to confess, I didn't watch the Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor trailer, but I still feel confident with my puppet pick. Anything, Ryan, that you think
that
best
sounds
is
good,
the
man.
puppet?
Puppet.
All right, puppet interview.
Trailer
Check it
of the
out.
week.
Trailer of the week. Thank you so much. We are getting close to E3, but we should probably have time for another episode last week. And we're thinking about doing maybe more than one episode during the week of E3, depending on all
that'd
the
be so
crazy
fun.
stuff that we're going to
Yeah,
see. You think it's fun. You think it's fun. Well, I think we all think it's fun, so that's something that might happen. But we will definitely be back next week. Have a good weekend, everybody.